Good morning and welcome to the Power of Design conference. My name is Michelle Sauer. I'm the International Development Officer for the Americas, Southeast Asia, and Europe at the University of Sunderland, and I'll be moderating the Q&A for today's session, which features an esteemed panel of members, including faculty from the University of Sunderland and AAS Greece that you'll get a chance to hear from very shortly. They'll be providing an interesting look at design in the modern world and exploring how you can pursue a future career in design. Throughout today's session, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat box at any time and we will be picking them up in our Q&A. So really without any further ado from me, I'll pass things over to Dimitris from AAS to introduce himself and get things started for us today.
So, I welcome you all to this great event. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Dimitris Bizioglis. I'm a designer, creative director, and lecturer at AAS College in Greece. We will have a short introduction about what design actually means, and then I will explain the power of design. Look around you, everything is design, everything, as Paul Rudd said. The evidence of design's power is everywhere. Design is all around us and can be found in the tiniest of places and items. The general concept of design concerns almost every scale of space, objects and images that surround us, touching our senses as well as every aspect of our everyday life. Take a look at the computer and the monitor in front of you, the phone beside you, the chair you are sitting on, the sign outside your window, the website you are browsing. All of these items have been carefully and thoughtfully executed by designers. Design helps us engage. It keeps us connected to the world. It helps us navigate our way through physical and digital spaces. Design is used to communicate depending on who we are. It can be influential by understanding our behavior and demographics. It has the power to persuade and empower our decision-making process. Customers expect, even demand, more from the design of everything they buy. Good design is not good enough anymore. Companies such as Google, Apple, Mercedes, and Nike understand that great design is a prerequisite for turning consumers into customers. Whether it is an application or a package, when something looks right, and feels right, it sparks an emotional connection. People come to love it and loyalty soon follows, along with the 3 R's: repurchase, reuse, and recommendations. Benefits that fall directly to the bottom line, such as the power of the design. Design, however, is not just what we see. It's a lot more than that. It's a process, but also a result. It's the human ability to set goals and find ways to achieve them. Design as an image, sense, and contemporary expression impacts on a multitude of activities of the society, on the content of a city, and ultimately determines the quality of life and daily routine of its inhabitants. Design enters into a number of areas, from large scale and architecture to the design of smart objects, from business promotion and branding to the artistic work and its forms. It enters into all aspects of well-being, everything that surrounds us and we move within, everything we carry and or wear, the new technologies and the information we receive or transmit daily in the digital era. Here are the fields of design as they have been internationally defined. But what design actually means? Let's watch this short video that explains what is design.
When people think of design, they often think an elegant chair, a well-turned logo, dramatic architecture. But that isn't all that design is. Design is more. It's more than the drapes or the drop shadows, more than a beautiful UI or a rad concept car. Design is more than aesthetics, much more. Design is fundamental. It's the predilection to investigate and understand. It's the compulsion to give form to ideas and make sense of disorder. Design is the ability to amend the imperfect. Design is knowing what questions to ask and how to ask them. What's the right problem to solve? How do I solve it? Why should I solve it? In a world in which anyone can now build anything, design is understanding whether something is worth building at all. If you've ever built, tested, shipped, debugged, rebuilt, or reshipped anything, then you're a designer. And there has never been a better moment in history to be a designer. Now is your time to solve real and important problems, to start great and enduring companies, to use curiosity, creativity, and craft to elevate lives. Because design, at its core, is optimistic. It's the call to change what is into what ought to be. It is the attempt to make heart and mind into tools of mass construction, to build a better, wiser, more just, more beautiful world. Design is your gift and your responsibility. Design is the way.
Here is what design is all about: making things better than they were before, identifying something that is not working, going deeper into the problem, exploring potential solutions to fix it, and solves the collaboratively exploring possibilities through critical thinking, creativity, experimentation, and evaluation. Design is a mindset, the ability to visualize and conceptualize the intangible. Conceptualizes, articulates, and transmits identity, messages, ideas, and values into new, updated, or mass-up products, systems, services, and experiences. It's critical thinking and creativity combined. Design is also a skill set, the technical abilities to enable the end goal to be reached. The role of a designer is continuously changing, now more than ever due to a revolution in the way we live and work. This is the hard skills, like knowledge of specific software programs, etc., are vital. The designer adapts to technological change with ease and embraces the challenge of learning and mastering new ways to visualize and communicate concepts across different media and new smart materials. And finally, the heart of the design is humanity-centered. The passion and curiosity to design solutions that are right for people and the planet. Uses an inclusive approach that emphasizes difference, respects human, environmental, and cultural diversity, and strives to achieve common ground. Applies ethics to avoid harm and takes into account the consequences of design action on humanity and the environment. You see, design is much more than aesthetics. Because design has more layers than just the aesthetic outer layer, which is what the product or communication or environment looks like, what the touch point does to the senses, looks, smell, touch, and sound. But beneath the layer of aesthetics is the interaction layer, how the user interacts with a product or communication or environment, and what kind of behavior it invites. Then, deeper is the performance layer, what the touch point, the product or communication or environment does, the problems it solves, and the functionality it brings to the user. And after is the construction layer, how the product or communication is made, what it's made of, and what technologies are used. You see, Steve Jobs said the design is not just what it looks like and feels like, the design is how it works. And the core is the meaning. What meaning and emotions the product or communication or environment conveys. The designer creates meaning for a community of diverse clients and users, not only interpreting their interest, but offering conservative and innovative solutions as culturally, ethically, and professionally appropriate. Design needs to not only deliver pleasure and delight, but must deliver the deep meaning that we know people are seeking. Designing for meaning is not only beneficial for the user, but is also key for business success. Delivering experiences that get to the core of what customers really value means that they will identify more deeply with a brand and form a stronger bond with a company. And why design is so important, especially for businesses? Because design drives innovation, innovation powers brand builds loyalty, and loyalty sustains profits. And as we said before, delivering meaning through experiences creates a deep bond with customers. Brand loyalty and advocacy will be higher and customers will have deeper engagement with products. This will in turn lead to high use and retention. Martin Neumann, in his book The Designful Company, states that if you want long-term profits, don't start with the technology, start with the design. Based on data from around the world, we can demonstrate that businesses that use design are more profitable than those that they don't. And if design is made part of the innovation process, the return on investment is even greater than if design is just used for styling. Here is a video from the Design Council in the UK that promotes the value of strategic design to business to help boost their commercial performance.
Being a small business in Britain isn't easy, is it? In fact, right now, it all looks pretty bleak. And yet, within the next 5 years, the government believes over half of all new jobs will come from small businesses. That's you. Despite all this doom and gloom, some companies have already found a way to grow. So what's their secret? You see, design isn't just about shiny gadgets or a new logo. It's about thinking beyond what you normally do and transforming the world around you. Think of design as a really flexible and powerful tool that can help with everything your business needs to thrive. Like making new products that reach new customers, improving your workplace so you're more productive, while creating an exciting brand that you can watch grow. And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. Every £1 spent on design can give you over £20 in increased revenue and £4 in increased profit. And if you want to sell to new markets, that same £1 can turn into £5 in increased exports. It's no surprise that UK businesses spend £33 billion on design every year. So what makes design such a powerful tool? It's simple, really. Design is about people. Designers solve problems by working out the impact that your product or service will have on the people that use it. Whatever you're designing, people, your customers, your team, are at the heart of it. That means your design can't help but be user-friendly. So people can't help but like what you do. That's good news for your business, which is pretty good news for everyone. Design is about thinking differently and growing your business. See? It's really not a secret.
Good design can deliver growth, as we've seen, sustainability and innovation. The transformative power of design makes a real impact now and in the future. Design helps to grow businesses and translate ideas into products and services that generate economic and social value. We know that good design can improve people's health and quality of life, as well as creating products, services, and places to enjoy. Encouraging healthy lifestyles, adapting to environmental challenges, promoting economic growth, and solving social issues all require innovation and creativity. Designing for the future is essential if we are to meet the challenges of an aging population, environmental change, and economic uncertainty. Stimulate growth, we said. This is an MA design work of an AAS student with focus on branding and packaging. The project is a vitamin packaging for children. Lego vitamins are hybrid bundle product. There are two different products that are sold together, vitamins and Lego toys. With Lego, we can build anything we want, but also Lego helps build your health. When Vasco successfully completed his MA degree, he returned to his home country and went on to work as a head designer at a pharmaceutical company that tested this new innovative product on the market with a 370% increase in sales. Improving lives. This MA project aims to create a potential design solution to one of the most serious challenges of modern society, unequal development of rural and small urban places compared to large cities. United Nations prediction is that 70% of world's population will live in large urban areas by 2030. Therefore, the end result of this MA project was intended to represent a form of solution for deserted cities, providing an answer to part of this issue. The solution combines tourism potential, skilled but unemployed citizens, and cultural heritage with one main goal: to help the socio-economic and cultural development of small towns. The solution is in form of a smart digital platform that integrates mixed reality with data, Internet of Things, and generates a personalized tour through Crusoe, combining activities that are related to the user's data and previous experience. While the traveler learns a new culture, tradition, or skill, at the same time they preserve the local community. Research driving innovation. Research shows that in recent years, many people have become aware around the issue of fast fashion. This distraction partially happened because of the trend of fast fashion for cheap and bad quality products and violated human rights. This MA project with the name Great Auto Evolution is a transform women's wear apparel and jewelry collections for more than one season and for more than one size, concerned about sustainability, reuse and recycling technology. This research draws from the idea of the butterfly effect. Moreover, the project based on butterfly transformation philosophy and inspired from all the stages of its lifestyle. It is based on sustainable specifications made with alternative materials from warehouses like tablecloth, curtain fabrics, etc., which all were defective and leftover fabrics. More specific, clothes will have the ability to transform and to evolve like butterflies, according to the consumer needs. As a result, the clothes in this project are transforming by tunneling and zip techniques. Tunneling techniques are like caterpillar walking to the body, and zips makes the clothes easier to transform. So they can have 3 or more products in one, from basic shapes to more complicated, just with a simple moves from the consumers. The collection is being completed by digital printing techniques with kaleidoscopic, that represents the realistic butterfly in a fractal composition, and the graphic motifs which combines the butterfly and this chaos theory and the butterfly effect that she was inspired. The project consists also of 3D printing details as well as LED touches and hand cut out forms. How you cannot driving innovation with this project. Shaping the future. This MA research is about a unique innovative future concept for a smart zero waste supermarket that helps customers reduce their energy footprint in order to eliminate the problem of packaging waste. Customers are finding products in bulk placed in gravity dispensers instead of packages and receive information through a mobile app, AR components and touchscreens for ingredient recipes and producers and manufacturers. It also uses AR to navigate and learn about weekly discounts. Customers use reusable vessels made from environmentally friendly materials that can bring or can buy from supermarket shelves. The customers of Bale Stocks Market lead an ecological lifestyle, opting for eco-friendly and healthy choices. The goal to minimize domestic waste and reduce humans' consumption of natural resources is quite high on their agenda. Therefore, they are constantly seeking for ways to accomplish all their everyday activities with a minimum impact on Earth, which is the ideal zero waste philosophy. Regarding their consumption patterns and trends, these customers choose healthy, nutritious food, mostly organically produced. They are willing to spend more money and time in order to buy products that are eco-friendly. They embrace new technology and use it to discover products and markets that match their ecological philosophy. This is an extraordinary time to be a designer. Creative individuals are uniquely positioned to make a difference by offering innovative perspectives and solutions to real-world issues. Our industry needs more designers. Most importantly, a different type of a designer. It's my conviction that the 21st century will be the designer century because I believe that design is the greatest lever for building the greatest companies to come. Now I would like to introduce you my colleague in University of Sunderland, Julia Patton.
Hello, welcome. Hi. Thank you very much, Dimitris. That was fabulous. Thank you very much for introducing us to the whole exotic world of design. My role at Sunderland is that I'm an illustration lecturer, but my previous experience has been in undergraduate with fashion and textiles, and after that, a master's in illustration and design. I currently work part-time at Sunderland University, and I work freelance for a multitude of global clients around the world in publishing, packaging, art licensing, and those skill sets are completely vital to bring back into the studio, into the academic environment, to start to show you the realities of professional practice within the AAS and the Sunderland University setup. What I'm going to do today, as you can see, I'm in one of the design studios in the university. I'm just going to talk for a little while about the world that Dimitri has just introduced you to. How does that look? What does that look like? How do we introduce you to all of these amazing new worlds and ideas? And we do that in very small bite-sized pieces from the very beginning. And I think I need to start by saying congratulations, welcome, you're exactly in the right place. We need problem solvers and creative minds more than ever. This last year has shown us that a rapidly changing environment needs people and creatives just like you and I to solve problems and adapt and change and make the world a better and safer place. So what happens when you come and join us? We give you all the building blocks that you will need to be able to begin to understand and realize your studies, and then eventually realize where your place is within the design world. We make sure that you've got all the right tools. We make sure that you are introduced to every bit of traditional and digital equipment and facilities. We make sure that you've got the newest digital hardware and software. We make sure that you have all the skill sets to be able to use any traditional media. And not only the tools for traditional and digital media, we are developing you. We develop your interpersonal skills, your professional skills, so you can become a really effective visual communicator. We can all have the most magnificent, fabulous ideas, but if we can't communicate those ideas and share these with our group and our peers and eventually our employers, then that seedling that we've created just stops there. So it's one of our most important things, that we give you the skill sets and the building blocks to do that. We develop you. We do that through supporting you and your unique visual vocabulary. We identify your strengths. We encourage you. This is a really safe and inclusive, diverse learning setup that we have. And we make sure that we encourage you to try and especially think outside of the box, make mistakes. And this is an environment where you can feel safe and happy to do so. What we've done individually here at Sunderland and AAS is particularly, we are very conscious to make sure that the modules and the projects that you will be undertaking for your time when you come and join us are that these modules and projects are looked at very carefully on a regular basis to make sure that they're really industry focused. They are quite a few of the briefs and projects that we now run are looked at and almost created into a bespoke project around your personal interests, and we develop those rather than giving out not necessarily an all is one stage when we are teaching. This means that we are quite innovative with the work that we do and how we teach you, something that our competitors haven't quite caught up with yet. So we're quite excited to share that with you. And this means that by the time you're with us, you're going to develop lots and lots of different skill sets of how to build your portfolio, you won't be leaving us just with something that is aesthetically and ergonomically stunning. You're going to be leaving us with something, a proper toolkit that is going to enable you to go on and accomplish all your dreams and aspirations with your professional practice. That might mean that you have a digital portfolio, you will have a website, you will have a physical portfolio, you'll have credible sketchbooks, you'll have notebooks that you can share with acquisition bosses and when you're going for interviews, and we will do all of that and we will show you exactly step by step how to accomplish that. Also, what we're going to be doing while we talk to you about your academic study and your professional practice, we're going to be joining those two worlds together. Traditionally, when you have been at university and trying to find employment, there's been a big gap, but we have spent a lot of time and a lot of care making sure that that transition from your academic study to professional practice is completely closed down as much as possible. And the reason we do that is we employ staff that have particularly strong industry inside connections. And staff members like you're going to be introduced to soon later in the chat, you're going to see that their breadth of knowledge within their professional practice means they know exactly what an employer is looking for. So you will be leaving with portfolios ready for contemporary business and contemporary acquisition. So all of our networking skills and employability skills we're giving to you, so not you're only getting your academic tutoring, you're getting cutting edge, completely vital and completely unique industry information too. Some of my colleagues are going to go on and explain more about their particular areas of expertise, and we're going to be around at the end to ask any more questions. But what we're particularly important about talking to you about is making sure that you understand how unique your own voice is, and that's what we're here to develop. We are here to help you develop your resilience and adaptability and your positive mindset. And as I said earlier, there's never been a better place or a better time to do that. So welcome to the family, and let me introduce you to my next colleague, Nick, who's going to be talking to you about a little bit more about adaptability and his role within the university. Thank you very much. Here's Nicholas.
I think it's Mark, actually. Mark's next. He's just
Mark popped in.
There you go. Yep, that's looking good, Mark.
Thank you very much, Julia. So I'm here today to talk to you about your future as a designer. I'm Mark Robertson, a lecturer in graphic design and an independent printmaker. I want to talk to you about the AAS courses, but also about your perfect stepping stone into a career as a designer. A diverse design career is what you need to take as a success. For instance, let's look at my own career. After graduating from a design degree, I worked in agencies across London, designing for global brands and packaging briefs from McDonald's to Carlsberg. I then became a freelance designer, working on personal projects for independent brands, which I felt had real value. This also gave me the chance to pursue my career as a printmaker. I then set up a small business and sold my crafty creations around the world while teaching the wonders of lino printing to kids and adults alike. This adaptability in my career has been really useful, and I want to take the opportunity to talk to you about where your creativity might lead you. The possibilities really are endless, and the skills as a designer allow you to do anything you want to do. So after university, you'll be leaving with a portfolio bursting with potential, and the creative industry is just waiting for your talent. And you might be surprised by how many different roles and responsibilities you could undertake as a designer. It isn't just a single choice. A graphic designer could work in packaging design, can become a typographer, a copywriter, an art worker, a product stylist. There's so many options available, all built from the foundation of design. This understanding is something you can only develop through an exposure to the design world. And here are just a few of our students who have left our courses armed with the knowledge that has sent them on the path to success. For agencies to freelancers, there are so many ways of working and options to choose from. You don't know where you might end up. My choices have led me on so many different places that I never even dreamed of when I started out. It's worth thinking maybe about where yours might lead you. Yeah, maybe it's a future in a design agency. This is where you'll work on the most impressive clients, on some of the most luxurious budgets, and an in-house designer is able to feed off a creative team around you, supporting and helping each other to build something beautiful. This is where your professional skills in communication, presentation, and teamwork, along with your design knowledge, will help you in your success in that career. This is stuff you will learn through our courses. Take James. After finishing his advertising course, he completed his national service and walked straight into a job at JWT Athens, prepared with a portfolio bursting with ideas built in university. After 2 years, he moved to Newton Laboratories, one of the leading awarded agencies in Greece, and is now just left to become a creative director at Ogilvy. Yeah, all his success has been built on that initial portfolio, which has come from a degree he's done with us. But maybe you'd prefer to work on your own terms. This is where the freedom of freelancing is perfect, giving you the choice of who you work for and when. Whether it's an agency or going it alone, you can pick exciting briefs you want to be part of and work with fantastic clients you want to support. You can also decide how much you want to charge them. With the digital age, communication has never been easier, allowing you to network and collaborate across the globe. A digital nomad is one of the newest and most exciting roles around. Let's look at Stavros. Born in Thessaloniki, he studied graphic design at ASS and set up as a freelance illustrator, working with clients in Greece and across the world. He has had work published in articles from the Washington Post to Womankind and even the BBC. Along with this, he does commissioned projects and works with interesting clients all the time. As a freelancer, you choose to work on brands of real value that match your ethos, helping to bring their dreams to life. But perhaps you already have a dream of your own. The world is teeming with successful independent startup businesses. Maybe you could be the next one. This may seem a little daunting, but the skills you learn as a designer will help you follow these dreams. Look at Sarah. After finishing a fashion degree, she returned home and set up her own independent brand, built around her family values, history and ethics, putting her heart and soul into this fashion label she is now selling globally. These 3 graduates set up a professional career built around a university degree. That's what gave them the success and the drive and the passion and the encouragement to get started. They're tailored their career for success, and the adaptability of design means you learn skills at the start. It gives you the ability to go anywhere you want to go. From graphic designers learning motion and animation, to animators learning character illustration and fashion drawing, to fashion designers learning art direction. The skills you learn are vital to the specialism and useful to all design, leading to a path to success wherever you want to go. And the creative industry is constantly evolving, and our students are part of that. We're changing fashion, using traditional methods to solve modern problems, developing styles and skills that really make a difference in the world. We're animating issues using motion design to drive social change through powerful typography. Words already have meaning, but the modern designer has now got the ability to bring them to life. It's a new age, and typography is becoming more exciting all the time. And we're really trying to make you think about things differently. Using the power of design to solve problems, tell stories, explain issues, we think that thinking about something brings it to the world in a whole new light. Designers are changing the world, and we want to help you do that. From first years to the final major projects, we show you how to design, but more importantly, how to change the way people think. And here's a few words from one of our advertising graduates as he's reflected back on setting out in the creative world. I wish I knew now to always open my eyes for inspiration in everything. When you start off, things might pass you by, which later on you see. Be focused from the beginning, and you can only evolve from there. Thank you very much, and I'm going to pass on now to Nick, who's going to talk to you about the adaptability of graduates and the future of AI.
I'm just talking about really about the stuff that's going on at the moment, and has been going on for the last 20, 30, 40 years, in fact, about the digital realm and how that's affected things. Excuse me while I'm just moving some bits around in my screen. So the main thing about this is really about the way that graduates have had to become more adaptable over the last few years because of the ever-changing industry that we're in, but it's also a really exciting industry as well. So I'm just going to click on this one. So when we look at the way the industry has changed, this is a very old photo from these are people doing typesetting for about 120 years ago. This is a skill that is still around today. It's still something that people do, but not in the volume that was being done even 50, 60 years ago. And I've seen it myself over my own lifetime, where I used to have a printer when I was about 12, 13 years old. I used to print my own stuff. I used to typeset. So when we talk about leading and type, I actually used to use leading and typeset. And I've seen an industry, this is a really good example of an industry that has been changed hugely by technology over the last 20 and 30 years, and something we actually take for granted now in terms of the use of desktop publishing. We have a whole range of opportunities and challenges being put forward over in the future. Things like VR as an example. This has been around for quite a long time, but it's really getting much more traction as we move forward. VR and AR as well. This is something that we like to accommodate at the university. We really embrace this, where when students come to us and they want to experiment with this, we have invested, and we are investing more in AI and AR equipment, because the demand for this is growing all the time. 3D printing, again, this is getting on for becoming quite an old technology. It's been around for decades, but it's advancing quickly all the time. We're seeing only a few weeks ago the first entirely 3D printed house, including all of the objects within it. And so again, it's something that we invest in. We have at Sunderland, we have a fab lab. We pride ourselves in trying to push our students to try these technologies and experiment as much as possible, regardless of what program they're on. This is really, really important. We want our students to surprise us by using this new technology in a way that we never thought possible. And this is what we want to do, is give you that opportunity. We're looking at things like fashion. This is Clo 3D on the bottom right hand corner, and this is using technology that's more akin to something that's been used in the games and TV and film industries, and is now being applied much more in fashion. This has been happening over the last few years, and designers are working virtually. They're working on products that they can plan at home or in the office and send around the world to be tested physically and produced and mass produced. And along with all of these opportunities, we also have challenges, and it's really important to obviously to have a focus on sustainability. All of our students, regardless of level, will be reminded and are working towards sustainability in the future and currently, and thinking about how their designs impact the world we live in today, but also the world that we will live in tomorrow. So if we look at all of these opportunities and also these challenges and tools, well, the one thing that doesn't change over this this period of time, and it's where we're seeing ever advancing technology, is innovation. The innovation and the ability to think and design does not change. We have new tools for expressing our ideas and bringing them to life. Some of them give us huge amounts of power. We can test stuff much faster, we can produce it much faster. But that basic idea of innovation, the idea of coming up with ideas and thoughts and trying new things, well, that's the same thing. That's what we want from our students, and this is what we try to make sure you're doing, is to think outside the box, as has been mentioned, and making sure you're innovating all the time. We can teach the tools. We can teach for instance, the Adobe Suite, which is an incredibly powerful set of tools. Photoshop just recently has introduced neural filters using AI, which is really, really exciting. And we can show you how to use these tools. But many people can do that. The main thing that we're focusing on is making sure that these are just tools. We're looking at the past, the context of what you're doing. We're looking at the history of art and design, and we're educating you in that, so you can see where your work fits in, both in terms of contemporary design and also what's gone before and what could come in the future. That's such an important thing. So although we can teach these tools to a really high level, what we're trying to do and what we make sure our students do is to use their brains to think, and think innovatively. The industry is changing all the time. And I've worked in the games industry for over 20 years, games and animation, and I was thinking about all the opportunities. I love to see different opportunities coming up and ways of using new and old skills, and a really interesting industry that's been changing and evolving over time has been the film industry. So Jason and the Argonauts, 1963, one of my favourite films. It amazed me when I was a kid. It still amazes me now. I still find these characters really haunting. And it has stop motion physical props that have been used for decades, and including the Star Wars movies up until the late 80s, early 90s. And then we move into very quickly shifting from physical props into using green screen and then overlaying CG. So we're seeing the industry evolve and change. The type of skills change quickly as well. But again, that innovation, the ability to think outside the box, remains the same. The same people are working in these industries. They don't simply now get pushed aside because they only know one skill. These are multi-skilled people. These are people who know how to adapt to an industry and know how to think outside the box and think of new ways of applying their skills and applying their tools. So when we look at The Mandalorian, for instance, where we've shifted almost 360, where we're using, instead of green screen CG panels in the background, we have LCD screens on a huge sound stage, which actually lights everything within it. So the background that you see here with the sky and the mountains in the background is generated using Unreal Engine, which is a games engine. It's being applied to huge LED screens in the background. That is now lighting these people who are physically in place, and the reliance on CG is dropping away increasingly with these amazing sound stages. And it means, again, we don't reverse, we full 360 back to the skills that we had previously, where Ray Harryhausen's amazing menagerie of creatures once again could be used potentially where we're using physical props. So the skills and the ways of thinking, the way of thinking is remaining the same. We need ingenuity, we need ingenious people, but those skills shift and they change around. So what we have as well is AI. How does AI fit into this? Well, it's moving fast. If people have been watching things like GTP3, and soon 4 is coming out towards the end of the year, you'll have seen the ability that we have now to type in a description of a design that we want, and this is the famous example that we've seen recently, which is an avocado chair, a design of an avocado living room or dining room chair, and it can come up with many designs for it, and you can pick and refine these designs. Now this is going to increase, this AI, the ability to do that is going to increase over time, as with things like websites like ArtBreeder, which have amazing functions for producing, where you can put in a single image of a face or two faces and you can apply lots and lots of of different styles to it. This is going to improve over time. We know this from things like Moore's law, where the capacity of computers gets better and better and better, and means our AI is going to get increasingly better. One of my favorite ones is Ganimal. So Ganimal is the ability to take a picture of your pet and you can convert it into any number of creatures. So we can turn it into a hyena, we can turn it into leopards. Now it has varying results, but it's getting better and better. And I'm sure in the next couple of years, this will get more and more powerful over time. We're already seeing this in apps that we're using on our phones in day to day. Now, how does this change things? Does it replace the designer? People are often the first thing they'll say, well, this is replacing design. If we've got something that we can ask to design 25 chairs, will it replace the designer? Well, I don't think it will. I don't think in the same way that we've taken on desktop publishing and we take this for granted, a whole industry turned on its head almost overnight. If you bear in mind that the old producers of Helix and Staedtler that used to produce our pens and pencils and still do, and rulers, the price of shares in those companies dropped within 24 hours when Apple Mac produced its first affordables desktop machine. We've seen these kind of things happen before, and it happens quickly, and it does produce seismic shifts. But the key thing is, when you look at what you have available on your iPad, you will look at GarageBand, for instance, which I put in the hands of my 12-year-old daughter, who can now use any of the instruments that are available that 30 years ago I would have had to employ session musicians or to come into a studio and record and use. The question is, and I'm not being a slight on my daughter's ability to produce a brilliant music in GarageBand, but the fact is she needs those skills, the ingenuity, the experience and the teaching to be able to use these tools the most effective way. They can speed our work up. They can often broaden our horizons so we can see many different things, new opportunities, but the ability to think and be ingenious and use these tools remains the same throughout. So that's what I wanted to cover in this thing, and I think it's a really exciting opportunity. I'm already using AI. I love using Artbreeder, and I love using the neural filters in Photoshop. If you haven't started using them and you have a copy of Photoshop, it's going to be they're already started to produce it in the beta versions, and they're really fun and interesting to use. Once you start getting into it, you'll see the possibilities as well. And this is what we want to introduce you to. If you want to come and speak to us afterwards or join our courses, we're really excited to introduce this to you and be working with you on this as well. So thank you very much for listening to me. I'm just going to pass over now to Gurpeet. Yep, that's there. That's great.
Thank you very much. Okay, so nice to meet you. I'm Gurpeet Sigh. I'm head of design at the University of Sunderland. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about kind of links between University of Sunderland and AAS College in Thessaloniki in Greece. So basically AAS is the franchise partner, or effectively a study centre for the University of Sunderland for the design courses that run in Greece. And we work really closely together. Basically we have the same curriculum. So the 5 degrees that run at AAS are the same briefs that we run here at Sunderland. And so you get a top quality British degree awarded by the University of Sunderland. The important thing to note is that the assessment and feedback, so throughout your degree while you're at AAS College, the assessment and feedback is actually carried out by the specialist staff here at the University of Sunderland. And these are the staff we're talking about. So that's the Sunderland design team. These are all specialists in their fields, covering all the degrees that run at AAS as well. So how does that benefit you? Well, the bottom line is that we have a lot of world-renowned lecturers and specialist speakers coming, as well as the specialist staff at the university itself. And so we give all of our partners, because it's not just in Greece, we actually run our courses also in Singapore, Malaysia, Uzbekistan, Trinidad, Hong Kong, and lots of other places. So the bottom line is that we have the opportunity then to bring in speakers that we share with our partners and our students, because you will be our students, the University of Sunderland students, wherever you're based. And we make sure that that sharing sort of happens. There's also opportunity for some joint projects, which can be really interesting. We've had projects with students in South Africa, in Hong Kong, and various others. And the kind of cross-cultural aspects to that become really interesting. You start seeing how the entire industry, for example, fashion in Singapore and Uzbekistan, how the fashion industry works there as compared to what you're used to in Greece or here in Sunderland. And that kind of sharing becomes really, really interesting. We also share resources. So, for example, WGSN is a trend predicting sort of software and resource which is used by professionals around the world. And it's very, very expensive, but we have license for that for all of our Sunderland students. And as a student at AAS College on one of our design degrees, you will be a University of Sunderland student, so you have access to those resources as well. You also have access to ebooks. So the University of Sunderland, like many universities, has been investing very, very heavily in ebooks. So you don't have to come to the library and get a physical book. You can just download an ebook and look at that in your own leisure wherever you're based. So our students around the world access those, and the online library is very, very extensive. So these are the actual degrees that run at AAS College. We've got the BA Honours Graphic Design, Fashion Product and Promotion, Animation and Games Art, Advertising and Design. So those are the undergraduate programs. And then we have the postgraduate degree, which is MA in Design. And this is the library at Sunderland itself. So it's quite an extensive sort of place. There's actually two libraries. There's one at St. Peter's campus and another one on the city campus, covering sort of different subject areas and things. But like I say, across the entire library, it's ebooks and you have access to those. If any of you decided to transfer to the UK in the latter part of your degree to complete your degree actually in the UK, then you'd actually be visiting these resources and using them. We also have a really, really powerful alumni association. So this is all people who have graduated from Sunderland in the past, and they are very, very generous people. There's a lot of networking sort of goes on, and as part of our alumni, because you will be University of Sunderland alumni when you graduate, you can get careers advice online, and you can get alumni services for up to 3 years. So that could be things like help with your curriculum vitae, your CV, or help with interview techniques and so on. You can give you sort of dummy runs, practice with all those kind of skills. There's also a lot of resources that the University Alumni Association has to help you find graduate jobs, and they can point you in sort of where the jobs are actually being advertised or available, or if it's not on sort of online resources, we get to hear about them quite often before they go public, if you like. You'll get help on starting a business. We have lots of recruitment fairs. We have something called the internship factory, because we have so many internships, and they are a great way to get into full-time employment. So we have a full sort of setup for arranging that, and developing a range of skills and much more. That's all possible through the Alumni Association. And I think that figure of 125,000 is actually out of date. There's a lot of networking around. We've had a lot of our graduates who've got jobs from alumni in sort of Hong Kong, New Zealand, China, all over the place, because when those graduates are working overseas and they need a good designer, they know where they've been trained. They know it's been really fantastic training, and they call us, and we put sort of good people in their hands. So there's a lot of people who get jobs through this as well. And we have 3 campuses around the world. So one main campus in Sunderland, obviously. We have another main campus in London, and a big campus in Hong Kong also. So again, there are opportunities around that, which may be of use to some of you. So why the University of Sunderland? Well, for design, we have some amazing designers, both who get sort of awards while they're students, and also who get awards after they graduate. And this is just a small sample of some of the kind of awards that our graduates and students have gone on to win. So they won Oscars, BAFTAs, Emmys. The Europrix is one of the biggest multimedia competitions in Europe. We had a winner of that. DNA to Yellow Pencil is a massive thing. So there were 22,000 entries, I think, for the time when our students won this. And there's only a handful of students who actually win. So these are really sort of important awards, which show the kind of caliber and quality of the degrees that we're teaching. The Adobe International Talent Competition winner, that's a big one. I think there were 5,500 entries, and these are people who are at the top of their game. You know, these are students who are at the top of the game and using any Adobe program, who are submitting their very best work. 5,500 entries, and again, our student won the overall prize. Lots of others. I'm not going to sort of spend time going through them all, but you get the idea. There's a lot of awards that our students go on to win. And one interesting one, I think, is the Creative Conscience Awards. It goes back to our ethos, which is shared with the AAS, obviously, about, you know, using design, the power of design for good, to actually, you know, create a better world, basically. And so our students are very, very geared up to that. So much so that at the last D&AD New Blood exhibition in London, we won 7 Creative Conscience Awards and the One to Watch, which is the equivalent to the Best in Show, which I don't think any other university at the time sort of matched. It's an astonishing amount of sort of awards for that kind of ethical design, which is really important to all of us. And we have some really good graduate employment figures. So in graphic design, in most of the last number of years, we've had 100% graduate employment, and, you know, it varies between the different degrees, but we have really good graduate employment. I'm going to share with you a few examples of past students. So this is a University of Sunderland graduate who was an animation student, and while at the end of his second year, he got a placement at Aardman. Now, you may know that Aardman sort of create Wallace and Gromit, Creature Comforts, and various others. They're Oscar-winning and award-winning studio in the UK. So he got a placement there, and he worked on Creature Comforts as part of his placement. And that Creature Comforts that he worked on won a BAFTA while he was still a student here at the University of Sunderland, which is quite interesting. And we knew that he'd contributed to that. He was a very good student, but we didn't realise just to what extent until he came back, and at the start of his third year, Aardman actually offered him a full-time job working on Creature Comforts, the American version. So they sent him to America to work on Creature Comforts, and that was at the beginning of his third year. So we made arrangements with him so that he could carry on with his degree work as well while he was working in the States full-time on Aardman sort of work. Another interesting one, Kevin Silito, he also went to Aardman as an armature engineer. He was an animator as well. His first feature film was Chicken Run. If you see the credits on that, he's got a sort of big name credit for that. He's won Oscar nominations for Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. It's won BAFTAs. He went on to work with Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride. He was a major sort of designer on that. So they do some amazing stuff. You know, we have some really high quality designers and graduates. We've had a graduate who worked on several of the Harry Potter films. Another one who's worked on the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Actually lives and works in New Zealand now. So there's just a small sample of the kind of things that our graduates go on to do. They do some amazing work, and we're really proud of them, and they work all around the world. So that's telling you a little bit about the kind of links between the University of Sunderland and AAS College in Thessaloniki. And what I'm going to do now is hand over back to Michelle, and if you have any questions, it's a prime opportunity now to ask. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much for all of these wonderful presentations. I think this has given a really great overview of the design world to our audience and really shows the diversity of design study and careers, as well as how design really influences all of us on a daily basis. So like Gurpeet mentioned, we will now open the Q&A. If anybody has any more questions, go ahead and feel free to pop those in the chat now. In the meantime, I'll just address a couple of questions that have come in from the audience during this session. So the first one we've gotten is it possible to transfer from AAS to the UK to complete my degree? Dimitri, would you be able to answer this one for our audience?
Yeah, great, okay. So a student that enrolls to AAS College is a student that is in the University of Sunderland as well. And after he completes or she completes the first year or the second year, he or she continues to the University of Sunderland.
Thank you so much. So the next question that we got in is a really good one. So obviously this panel has presented a wide variety of disciplines included within design. So the next question is asking if you can choose subjects on the MA in Design program to specialize in, and if so, what subjects are offered. Gurpreet, would you take that one for us?
Yes, certainly, no problem. So yes, the MA Design, it looks like it's a single degree, but actually there are pathways through the MA Design which allow you to get a named degree. So it can be MA Design in Animation, MA Design Fashion, MA Design Games Art, MA Design Graphic Design, MA Design Illustration. So those are the 5 kind of named degrees, but actually we get a really, really broad spectrum of students coming in. So people are doing sort of calligraphy, might be architecture, might be all sorts of things that they want to get a master's in. And so if it's not one of these named subjects, you would still leave with MA Design without a name attached to it. But there's an opportunity here for 5 named degrees if you wanted to specialize in a particular sort of subject area. And what happens is that there are 3 stages to the master's degree. And in the first stage, that's where you would discuss with your tutors, you know, about the kind of direction of your studies and your research, and that they would guide you into which of these kind of pathways that you might want to complete the degree with.
Wonderful. We've gotten a couple more questions while we've been answering those. So the next one that I'm seeing is, as an AAS student, can we apply for internship with the help of Sunderland? If anybody wants to take that specifically, if you'll just jump on, I'll send you live.
I can go with that if you like.
Sure, great.
Okay, so right, so I think the answer to that is that you have, if you're studying at AAS, you are a University of Sunderland student. So in that sense, you would have access to a lot of our resources, so the career service, the internship factory, and so on. So you know, we will certainly support you to try and arrange that. There are obviously slight difficulties in the sense that you might want an internship in Greece. We don't necessarily have those connections directly, but we work really closely with our partners in Greece with AAS. So I'm sure we could sort of, you know, make those kind of arrangements if necessary. But certainly we would support you.
I would add only that there is a career office support in Greece, and also we have a network of course, in the Greek industry, in the market, that students have access, of course, of this network. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you all so much. So that's all the questions that I've seen come in on the Q&A. If anybody attending the session has any further questions, you can definitely get in touch with the faculty or AAS. You can also at any time email the international office at international.office@sunderland.ac.uk for any questions about study at the University of Sunderland or with AAS. I want to thank everybody who's attended today, and especially our lovely panel for making this event so wonderful and so informative.